Alright, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are tackling one of the toughest parts of learning German, prepositions. But don't worry, we're going to swap all that confusion for a super clear system that's honestly going to change the way you speak. So let's jump right in. You ever feel like you're just lost in a jungle of German prepositions? You're staring at words like auf, mit, and zu, and you're just like, what are the rules here? If that's you, trust me, you are so not alone. This is a classic trip up for pretty much everyone. And look at this. This is a perfect example of why these little words are so powerful. When they act as prefixes, these tiny words can totally flip the meaning of a verb. So you have nehmen, right, which means to take. Slap zu on the front and suddenly it's to increase or gain weight. Use mit instead and now it's to take with. It's wild. That's the kind of power we're going to unpack today.
But here's the good news. There is a path through this jungle. And it's way easier than you think. The first step is just getting a handle on what a preposition's job actually is in a sentence.
So, in German, they call it a Verhältniswort, which literally means a relationship word. And I love that. Think of prepositions like the spice in a recipe. They aren't the main course, the chicken or the potatoes, but they totally define the flavor. They show how all the other words in the sentence connect to each other.
Okay, now listen up, because this right here is the biggest secret of the whole explainer. If you've been trying to memorize long lists of prepositions by themselves, just stop. The secret isn't the word, it's the case that word demands. It's all about the case.
And to make this super manageable, we're going to break it all down. We're sorting pretty much every preposition you'll encounter into just 3 simple groups. And these groups are based entirely on which case they use. Group 1 is Dativ, Group 2 is Accusative, and Group 3, well, that's the tricky one that can be both.
All right, first up, let's talk about Team Dativ. These guys are the loyalists. They are ride or die for the dative case. So if you see mit, zu, aus, any of these, with absolute certainty, the noun coming next has to be dative. 100% of the time, no exceptions.
Okay, check this out. The word aus is on our dative-only list, right? So the noun das Haus, which is neuter, has to switch to its dative form, dem Haus. It's as simple as that. Once you know the rule, it's like a little machine. It just works automatically.
Okay, next up, we've got Team Accusative. And good news, this group is even smaller. And they're just as predictable. If you spot one of these 5, bis, für, durch, ohne, or boom, you know the next noun has got to be in the accusative.
Here's a perfect example. Ohne is strictly accusative. That's its rule. So the masculine noun mein Hund has to change to meinen Hund. See? The preposition is the boss. It tells the noun which case to use.
So, okay, we've got our 2 teams with their fixed rules. Team dative, team accusative. Easy enough. But what about the prepositions that are kind of like double agents? The ones that can play for both sides. Now this is where it gets really interesting. These are called Wechselpräpositionen, which just means two-way prepositions. And yeah, they can trigger either the dative or the accusative. But don't panic. I promise there's a really simple trick to know exactly which one to pick. It all boils down to one single question. That's it. Are you talking about a fixed position, a static location? Then you ask the question, wo, where, and you use the dative. Or are you talking about movement towards somewhere, a direction? Then you ask, wohin, where to, and you use the accusative. Location or direction, that's the whole game. The classic coffee table example makes this crystal clear. Picture this, the coffee is already sitting on the table. It's not moving. That's a fixed position. So you ask, whoa, where is it? It's on dem Tisch, dative. Now picture yourself placing the coffee onto the table. That's motion towards a destination. So you ask wohin, where are you putting it? Onto den Tisch, accusative. See the difference? So good.
Okay, to really burn these two-way prepositions into your brain, we're going to try a little physical trick. It sounds kind of silly, but research actually shows that when you connect learning with physical movement, it helps you remember things way better.
So seriously, go ahead and do this with me. Auf is on something with physical contact. Put your hand on your head. Now, über is over, but with no contact. Hold your hand over your head. Unter is under. Put your hand under your knee. And vor is in front. Hold your hand out in front of you. Doing this creates these physical anchors in your memory, and it makes the recall so much faster.
All right, there's just one last piece to this puzzle, and it's all about verbs that are, well, they're a little picky. They have a favorite preposition that they just love to hang out with, and they're almost always seen together. It's like a fixed partnership.
For these verb-preposition pairs, you can forget about asking wo or wohin. The rule here is just to learn them as a single chunk, a fixed phrase. For instance, in German, you don't just wait someone, you always warten auf someone. They're a package deal. It's much easier to learn these as one vocabulary item. So at the end of the day, remember this. Getting good at German prepositions isn't something that happens overnight. It's a process, right? It takes practice. But now, instead of trying to memorize a huge, scary list, you have a simple framework. You've got 3 groups to think in, and that makes all the difference. You can totally do this.
So now that you're in on the secret, that the case is the real key, what's one proposition you're going to go out and practice first? Seriously, pick one. Maybe a two-way one, like auf or in. Try to use it in a sentence today, because that's how you take what you just learned and turn it into real, actual confidence.